Well, wow. Welcome. I'm so excited that you're all here. Thank you so much for coming out to support LGBTQ Pride and to support all of us in these times that we're going through right now. Welcome to our friends, allies, parents, spouses, our Transgender Day of Visibility we celebrate today. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm always looking for the blessing in everything. And right now it seems a little bit difficult to find the blessings. But you know, right now the transgender house is on fire. I had one of my kids say, you know, I went to Black Lives Matter. And when we were walking around, there were a lot of black people there and gay people. And I said, how come like there's Black Lives Matters, but there's not like Brown Lives Matters? Or she said, well, because the black people now, their house is on fire. And I said, that's really cool. She said, when our house was on fire at Stonewall, they came out for us. And that's what we do. The blessings in all of this, if you've seen in the last week or so, people are becoming united. People are getting really strong in their convictions to treat people equally, to be the same. And that's the blessing, if there is one, really. So we can do this, we can rally. Every one of you sitting here has been down a challenging road and a dark road at times. But you made it to the other side, and we're gonna do this all again together. When I was searching for a venue for this event, I wanted to have a flag raising because that's typically what they do at the Day of Visibility. But I couldn't find with a flagpole. And after thinking about it, with the help of our friends and allies at Camp Out, we did one better because we have a flag already raised and it's staying that way. So thank you so much to Camp Out and Carl. If you'd like to come up to the stage. It's a great venue, and Carl's just going to take a minute to welcome you and tell you a little bit what Camp Out does.
Thank you, Catherine. Welcome everyone to Camp Out Poconos. You know, this community was built as, you know, for the entire LGBTQ community, and we just want to make sure that everyone recognizes this is a safe space for you. We are committed to making sure that we are creating this space and making sure it's available to you always. Our trans siblings are the reason we all have our rights, and a lot of people forget that. And we just want to make sure you know that we're standing up here with you. We're not backing down. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. You have a weekend, right, that comes up that's...
Yes, we do have a weekend coming up in May. It's all the colors, all the love, and it's meant to represent the entire LGBTQ community. However, every weekend, everyone is welcome always here at Camp Out Poconos.
Great, thank you. All right. I just want to take a minute to acknowledge people. Ashley Strange, who is the director of the Governor's Advisory Commission on LGBTQ Affairs, is here now. I wanted to take a minute to thank Frankie Van Voogd for your generous donation of time and money for today's event. To our board in particular, Jackie Hartman.
Woo, Jackie!
Frank Bishop. Jillian Skolnick. And Amanda Hecker, who's not here tonight, but we could, and all of our wonderful volunteers. They worked really, really hard to have this event come together. We couldn't do it without you. So we have some really wonderful items also over there, Tricky Trade, 50/50, and during the night or whatever, you can go and look and you can donate. We have QR codes on everything. Okay. Today we gather to celebrate not just you, but the courage it takes to live authentically. We stand at a pivotal moment in history where visibility isn't just about being seen, it's about being understood, respected, and celebrated for who we truly are. Far too long, transgender people have been pushed to the margins, their stories whispered, their identities questioned, yet despite the shadows of misunderstanding and prejudice, there is an unbreakable spirit, a flame that refuses to be extinguished. Transgender people have always been and they always will be. For just a moment, I want to address the pink elephant in the room. Or should I say the orange elephant in the room? Although less than 1% of the population is transgender, and there were only 12 trans women athletes in college sports last year, this administration has chosen to make us the focal point of their ignorant and cruel agenda. You would think that they would have something better to do. Yeah. Like figure out how to make secure meetings or something like that. Although many say we are a distraction from other legislation being passed, it's more than a distraction for us. Our lives are at stake on every level. Our rights are being taken away, and we need to take action. I know we will resist and rise, as we have for centuries. We need to be brave once again, as you were when you first transitioned. We need to be visible. Visibility is more than just showing up. It's about rewriting narratives, breaking stereotypes, and building bridges of understanding. It's about inspiring those who still struggle to find their voice and reassuring them that they're not alone. Every time somebody boldly steps forward to live as their authentic self, they pave the way for others. They challenge societal norms and expand the world's understanding of gender. Their bravery teaches us that identity isn't a box to be checked and a spectrum to be embraced. But visibility is not just the responsibility of the transgender community. It's a call to action for allies, for friends, for families, and society at large. It's about creating spaces where people are safe to explore and express their identity without fear of judgment or rejection. It's about education, empathy, and advocacy. LGBTQ is here to honor and support all of you. So to the transgender individuals here today, your journey is powerful, your existence is revolutionary. Every step you take in living your truth is a step toward a more inclusive and understanding world. Stand tall, speak loudly, love unapologetically, and continue to be brave. And to our social media friends out there on Facebook, and everyone listening, let us be allies who don't just stand by, but stand up. Let us amplify transgender voices, support their rights, and celebrate their lives, because when we empower one, we empower all. Visibility transforms ignorance into understanding, fear into acceptance, and silence into a symphony of voices demanding dignity and respect. Together, let's build a world where authenticity is honored, where every identity is celebrated, and where every person is free to be who they truly are. And I'm going to ask now, Candace, we have a couple of different organizations that I want to just take a moment to bring them up, because these are safe places that I want you to know about. When you leave here today, please meet everybody, exchange contact information, and Candace is here to talk a little bit about her organization.
Actually, I have three things to bring up. I'm a co-founder of Poconos Renaissance, which is a transgender peer support group. It's part of the Eastern PA Trans Equity Project, and we meet every first Saturday in Stroudsburg. The second thing is we've recently started, or we've had the Trans Pocono Supper Club for about a year, and we just got a website. There's nothing really on it yet, but we're starting that up. Part of the Trans Pocono Supper Club is we get together roughly every other week to go out to a restaurant in a group for dinner. We're going to start doing breakfasts in the summertime. And one of the outreach programs that we just started is It Takes a Village. And this is to help transgender people go through recovery because they need a lot of help after gender confirmation surgery. So if you're interested, there's a few members here. Please check us out.
My friend, Alec Almeida, who's back there with the big light and doing our Facebook Lives, is the Executive Director of Youth Infusion. And Youth Infusion is a youth group, and I'm going to read this here so I say it right, that centers on amplifying youth voices, fostering a community connection. This is my own handwriting. Building safe, inclusive spaces where all young people feel seen, heard, and supported, including LGBTQ kids. So kids from 10 to 19. She does an outstanding job. She's the biggest advocate for everybody, works on their self-confidence, has projects for them, was just in Harrisburg bringing them over to talk to the legislators. So it's a great opportunity if any of you know any people that have young kids that want to get involved in any of this. Alec is sitting right at that table right back there. So, woo! Yeah. You know, in moments like this, we need each other. We need our community. Hold your loved ones tight, and together we'll get through this. And now I'm going to ask Ashley if you'd like to come up and share with us today.
Thanks, everybody. My name is Ashley Strange. I use they, them pronouns, and I live in Allentown. Can I get a boo? I am the Executive Director for the Governor's Advisory Commission on LGBTQ Affairs, also known as the Queer in the Governor's Ear. So, basically what I do is I run a commission of about 30 people, and we are all across the Commonwealth, and it is our mission to be a conduit between His Excellency, the Right Honorable Governor Josh Shapiro, and the good queer people of Pennsylvania. And so we do things like this. We have other kinds of events. A lot of my job is doing the boring stuff, sitting in meetings, you know, figuring out policies. But there's so many people at every level of government here in Pennsylvania that are working their fingies to the bone, making sure that LGBTQ plus folks are protected here, they can stay here, they can get health care here. It's not all, you know, roses and sunshine, but we are working on making it that way. We know that, for example, PennDOT, one of the agencies under the governor's purview, PennDOT, you know, I got my license switched to an X. And so that is something that is not going to change. There are going to be three options for gender change on licenses, and it's not going to go away, and everyone should still get their real ID because you're going to be able to get the correct gender marker on there. You're still going to be able to change your birth certificate here in the state of Pennsylvania. You're still going to be able to register to vote with 3 different gender marker options. And so if you do need to update your voter registration to reflect that gender change, all you have to do is re-register to vote. It's so easy. Who's done it before? Once, twice, 3 times, a lady? Look, we have very little to hang on to, but we're very lucky in the state of Pennsylvania to have a governor that's going to stand up for us. I think he said it a couple of weeks ago that there are people who are going to try to use our community as political pawns. And as the youth say, not around here, partner. Not around here. So we need to make sure that we're standing up for each other, and it is my job to make sure that all of the agencies under the governor's purview continue to reject the hate that is coming from the federal government, because for all of them, all of the hate that's coming out of the federal government flies directly in the face of the mission, vision, and values of the Shapiro administration. And so I'm really excited that Catherine invited me here today and to listen to you all. Feel free to point fingers at me, yell at me, contact me, tell me good news, bad news, find us on the social medias. We're here for you. You got a seat at the table. Thank you.
Ashley also told me that they're going to be sitting here listening and writing. So whatever you need, when we're finished with this, talk to Ashley. Ashley, we want a community center. It's been my vision for a very long time, and I actually have 2 people here that want to also help us. So put that on your list. Safe spaces, that's what we do. All right, so I have a bunch of kids that I've adopted over the years, and one of these kids is Alec Tyler Bailey. And I'm gonna ask him to come up and share with us today.
Hello, everyone. So, for the most part, a lot of people in here already know who I am. They've seen close to the start of my journey from about 7 years ago, and there is one person in this room who has known me since my high school days. So there's one person who has known me since I was met, and he's a very dear friend of mine, and he watched as this shy, reserved, fearful young girl made it through high school, made it through the Marine Corps, went through boot camp and all of that good stuff, and emerged this young, chaotic dick of a man. And it took quite a bit of time to grow into a respectable man of society, even though I still have my moments. But when Maggie was a youngin', say about 4 or 5 years old, she had her first realization that she was not the same as her sisters. They were watching Titanic, and her sisters were like, "Oh man, Rose is so pretty, I want to be like Rose. I want the makeup, the jewelry, the whole 9 yards." And I kind of just sat there and was like, I want to be like Jack. I want to have the hair. I want to wear the suspenders. I want to be him. And I looked at my mother, and as confusing as this must have sounded to that woman's ears, I said, I want to be Jack. And I was very quickly met with, you can't be, you're a girl. And that was the first time in my life that I realized I'm not the same. I am not like my sisters. I am not like my brothers. I am this weird, in the middle, different child. And for a long time, I kind of let it go. You know, as a youngin', you move on, you go play your games, you keep doing the thing, and you grow. And the second time that I had that feeling was a couple years later. I was in Merritt Island with my family, and my brothers and I were outside playing on this very beautiful, chilly fall day. And throughout the day, it warmed up, it became beautiful and hot. And everyone knows that in the middle of fall, by noon, it's like 70 degrees outside. And so my brothers took their shirts off and started, running around again. And I was like, man, that's a great idea. I want to do that. So I was wearing this, and I remember the flannel because it was this really strange fabric, and I actually hated it. But it was this green, yellow, and red flannel, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just unbutton it. And I did. I unbuttoned it, and I went and continued playing. And at some point, my mother must have looked out the window and saw what I was doing, and pulled me aside when it was time for supper, and she said, you have to know now that you cannot keep doing that. You cannot keep running without your shirt on, because it is inappropriate. And my first thought was, why? Why is this inappropriate? Why can I not run around like my brothers and just not have to worry about a shirt? And at first, it started off as just general confusion on why can my brothers do it? And throughout the years, getting older, you hit puberty. And I grew 2 very large items that could not be unshirted. So I very quickly learned why I was not allowed to run without a shirt on. And then that confusion turned to anger for a long time because I hated looking in the mirror. I hated the girl I was. I hated my hair. I hated everything about myself. And she realistically was a beautiful woman. She was young. She was crazy, but she was someone who deserved better than what I gave her, and realistically than what society gave her. And she got through high school, she got through puberty, she learned how to live as this woman, and through her anger, she pushed. And in the Marines, she became very lucky to become friends with this small group of people. And if you know anything about the Marines, you're not allowed a house unless you're married. So, luckily, she had friends who were married. And she went over to their house and went to the fridge, grabbed a Corona, sat down on the couch, and looked at their TV to see what they were watching. And on that day, they were watching videos of other trans men transitioning. And she sat there for a second and was like, what is this? This can't be real. This is a joke. There's no way. And as the videos continued, she was mind blown because for the first time in her life, she was he. And for the first time, he found his name, and he found his voice, and he found the acceptance in himself to say, I know who I am. And having that feeling for the first time when you're 21 years old is a bit confusing. And you really have to figure out, is this actually what I want to do? Is this the right thing to do? And there was the smallest moment of, maybe I shouldn't. The smallest moment of doubt creeped in, the smallest fear creeped in. And within that brief second of fear, he decided that his life was much more worth a life of living in despair than his own skin. And I wasn't gonna live that life. And so, a year later, in June of 2015, I started my physical transition. I started testosterone, and I did it wrong. Which you're probably like, how do you do that wrong? I did it wrong. When you start testosterone, or any hormone, they usually start you on a low dose so your body can acclimate. They started me on a low dose. They did that right. What I didn't do right was take the right dosage. So I took 4 months of testosterone in 2 months, and I hit a wall. I was angry, I was excited, I had all these big emotions. I immediately started growing facial hair. Within like the first 3 weeks, my voice dropped enough that I was so passing, nobody questioned anything. And I wanted to murder everyone. I was just over everything, and it was just, it was a time. And then when I went back to the endo, they were like, are you good? And I was like, I don't think so. Like, I think something's wrong. And they were like, how much have you taken? And I explained what I was doing, and they were like, you need to not do that. You might kill yourself at this point. And I was like, cool, all right, that makes sense. So after they put me on a normal dosage and showed me how to do it properly, the freedom that I felt in my own skin was the most relieving feeling I'd ever felt in my entire life. I was still as chaotic as can be. I came back and caused as much terror as a person can cause. But it was the first 3 years that I was able to take a step back from Maggie, thank her for what she got me through, thank her for what she fought through and survived from to get me to the point where I could happily live as Alec Tyler Daly. And in the first 5 years, in the first 5 years, I had the very fortunate, blessed, whatever it may be, opportunities to meet the right people. I had the right friends, I met the right friends, I met the right family, I met everyone who would be the safest place for me to fully transition in. And I was lucky for that, because a lot of us don't get that. A lot of people have to do it on their own, a lot of people have to fight on their own, they have to go through their doctors, their surgeries, they do it all alone. And I didn't have to. And I'm thankful for Catherine, I'm thankful for Morgan, AJ, Vicky, Calissa, all of my friends. I'm so thankful for them, because I wouldn't be here talking to y'all, I wouldn't be here, saying we exist for a reason, and we're not, like Catherine said, we're not going anywhere. So, the last thing is, when the first time that I realized that the decision I had made was not as exciting for the rest of society was when I was in Illinois, which unfortunately I started my transition in Illinois, and that was a terrible idea. I don't suggest that for anyone. And I was living in Danville, and I was working at a car wash at the time, and I had to go to the bathroom, but I wasn't allowed to use the male's bathroom yet, which was a silly thing because I had facial hair, and I sure did sound like a guy at that point. So I walked out of the bathroom, and a young girl walked in as I was leaving. Unfortunately, she went to her mother, who then came into the gas station and was like, "Why is this man in the bathroom? Why is he in the women's bathroom? He shouldn't be in there." And I give my manager props because she did her best to mitigate the situation. That's his job, he has to clean the bathrooms, there should have been a sign on the door. However, I think the mother figured it out. And I'd gotten back to the car wash area and was doing my job. And this car came over and rolled down their window, and this man looks out and says, "You are the worst type of person, and you are ruining this planet." And then told me to off myself. And that was the first time that I realized that I was not accepted. But it was also the first time that I said, you know what? I will never hang my head. I will never let somebody tell me something like that again. I will never back down, and I will continue to be who I am and who I'm working to be. And honestly, 10 years later, here I am. And it is the best thing I could have done for myself. So, don't lose hope. We'll fight, we'll win, we always win. So, thank you.
Next speaker that we have is the reason that I'm here. My son, AJ, is transgender, and it was very difficult for me. I don't know, do we have any other parents of, okay. I didn't handle it very well. I know some of you already heard this story, it was horrible. But thankfully, Jerry Papillion, who I will mention every time, every way, made a huge difference. She was the director of Camp Papillion Animal Shelter, took him under her wing, and really, I don't know that he would even be here today if it wasn't for her. Eternally grateful. But we learned together. For parents of trans kids, we had conversations that were really tough. I mean, it was like, he didn't want to tell me, you know, I am Irish, Catholic, Italian, the worst nightmare for a transgender kid to come home to say, "Guess what, Mom?" So he didn't. I found out from another source. But anyway, we stood there and I go, you know, what about Anna? Because Anna was my daughter before AJ was my son. And he was looking at me like, what? And I go, what about Anna? And he goes, Mom, I'm like right here. It's like, yeah, but no, but there's a grieving process. So parents, when somebody transitions, it's not just their transition. It's a family transition. And as Tyler said, we had a wonderful family to go through all of this with for all of these kids. But AJ's willingness to be his authentic self almost his whole life, and he didn't even know that transgender was what it was until a little bit later, but willing to be all of those things is what made me feel ashamed to never ever come out to be who I truly am too. So I am forever grateful to my greatest teacher, and I know that you would like to say a couple of words also.
That's an introduction. Now I'm going to read this off my phone. Hi, I'm AJ. Yeah, so let me start this off just by saying thank you so much for being here. That's number one. Number two, I have never been more proud to be a trans man or a transgender person in my life. I think first and foremost, the singular most important thing I want to say is, I'm not going anywhere. We, the queer community, and my trans brothers and sisters, we are here. Not in spite of the political atmosphere surrounding us, but regardless of it. We have been here, we will be here, we exist and are living our best lives to the best of our abilities. Let me share with you all what this day means to me and why it's so important. Recognition, understanding, to shed the ignorance, let the light of understanding, acceptance, and equality wash over all of us. My friends, it has never been more important to use our voices to remind those that would silence us that we will not, we cannot be silenced. We will be loud in our joy. Joy to be exactly who we are. Joy to have survived and made it past an era of violent ignorance. Personally speaking, I am at the crossroads of identities that should be getting me hunted down. I am brown. I am queer. I am trans. I am an immigrant. You wouldn't know half of that if I didn't tell you. Hard to hide the brown. Maybe the queer trans isn't super obvious. My point is, I am not afraid. Do not misunderstand. We all know the climate of right now, what has been, where it might be going, but that doesn't stop me from existing, living, loving my life, my wife, my family. I can't stop living in joy even when half the country roars and gnashes their teeth. I am not afraid because I have already lived through the scariest times, the times of shame, self-hatred, fearing myself, and the next morning that might come where I had to live in a body and mind that did not feel like my own. No one can take the joy that I earned. I fought for it, paid for it. No one can take your joy, take who you are away. Live in joy forever, my friends. Thank you.
Okay. So, what can we do? We know where we are. We know what's going on. We know what the administration's plans are for us. So where do we go and what do we do? This year, we call on activists, policymakers, lawmakers, and donors to listen to our community and take urgent action to protect the lives of trans and gender diverse people. It is our shared responsibility to create a world that protects trans lives. To policy and lawmakers, your senators are Rosemary Brown, Fetterman, and McCormick. Find them, write them. I have gotten no response from some, still. But we need to inundate these people because they're not doing what they need to do for the wellness and for the welfare of our community. Go on to the PA webpage, and on the PA webpage you can find all of your representatives. There are a lot of them, and every district is different. Find your representatives and tell them to show up for you. It's important. I will tell you that my friend, who couldn't be here tonight because she's in Harrisburg, Maureen Madden, state representative, is probably the biggest champion for us here. She helps me all the time, and I'm not even in her district from where I live. I can't vote for her, but she is always available. She has, voted all the time. Right now, the Fairness Act has still not passed in the Senate. You can still get fired or evicted for being gay in Pennsylvania. The House has passed it. Our senators have not brought it to the floor. Not yet, not once. We need to tell them that this needs to happen. We do have a great governor right now, and I'm excited about Josh Shapiro because he has said he's not going to ever sign any anti-LGBTQ legislation ever. So we have a champion and we need it because states are really important right now with what's going on with the federal government. So we need to do that. By the way, I was thinking on June 6th is the World Pride Day in Washington, D.C. If any of you are interested in doing that, I'm real up for renting a bus and taking us down there and going down to World Pride in D.C. So you know our webpage. My cell phone number is on every card that's back there. You can message us on Facebook, on webpage. If there's enough of you that want to take a bus to DC, we will get one. And we'll go down. And it'll not only be a good time, but it's a show of strength that we really need to continue to do. The other thing we can do is to donate. Yesterday, just yesterday, the administration canceled 68 grants to 46 institutions, totaling nearly $40 million in LGBTQ funds, just yesterday. So you know what that means? All of us nonprofits, by the way, all of your donations you can write off, they would be tax exempt because we are a nonprofit. All of the grants and things that we use to survive will no longer be available. So we really are needing to count on our community to fund what we need to do together. I just can't believe what they're doing. I mean, I can't go there, but I'm not allowed to get political because I'm a nonprofit, but boy, I really want to, and I can't. As we confront the growing challenges posed by the anti-gender and anti-rights movements to transgender and gender diverse organizing, paper stuff, we will call on donors to play a pivotal role in ensuring our movement and sustain us. In times when funding priorities among donors and government are evolving, opportunities are shrinking, and your support is critical. So we have our tricky trade. This is how we do it. We have a 50-50, buy tickets, do what you need to do that. There's QR codes on everything. You can go to our Facebook page and donate as much as you'd like. And Ashley's gonna get us a community center. So, you know, we'll have that safe place. So I wanted to end this now with a quote, because I know so many of you are scared. You're afraid. I wake up in the night afraid. So when I'm most afraid, I grab hold of something to be grateful for. It's not so much about the thing, but my determination to change my mindset from victim to telling myself I will make it through this. Gratitude is a powerful tool which becomes my light in the darkness of fear. You are the light, my friends. Stay tall and shine bright. So this is Frankie Van Boot. She has done so much as a volunteer, but she would like to say a few words.
Yeah, you can stay right here. Okay. All right, so Frankie here. I have not prepared any of this, but all of this, all the donations, all the tricky trade, this event to support everybody. The youngest trying to make up his mind about trans is right in the back over there. This is a big deal, but this would not have happened if it wasn't for this lady. She's been doing it for a very, very long time, so much respect. And thanks to all my volunteers. And I can be political past the Fairness Act.
We can't talk about legislation, that we can do. We're just going to tell you who to vote for, but I'll tell you, when I started this, I had brown hair. Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to play some music. We're going to hang out for a little bit. Before we do, I just want to say something also. My name is Frankie as well. Imagine that. There's a lot of Frankies here. No, it's okay. I just wanted to say a couple of things. Catherine asked me to speak, and she forgot apparently. That's okay. I forgive you.
I have your name right
That's
there.
okay. No, and I asked myself, why would you want me to, I kind of hesitated, because I was like, I don't identify as trans, I'm not non-binary. I thought about it, and it's because this is my fight too, right? This is all of our fight, because if you believe for a moment that rights being taken away is going to stop with the trans community, you're sadly mistaken. This is where it starts. It starts with the most vulnerable, right? With those least able to fight back. It doesn't end there. That's the beginning. Okay, so we all have to fight this. Besides that, I love you guys, okay? I was raised to fight for the people I love. I will fight for you every day. That I give you my word on, okay? We're all facing some dark times right now, right? We know this. I was driving my daughter home yesterday, and she pointed up to the sky and was like, "That is beautiful." And I looked up, and it was basically some really dark clouds covering the sun. And it was beautiful because the sun's rays were blasting right through those dark clouds. And it created a photo-worthy image that was so stunning. And it just really hit me. And I'm like, I have to convey this story because that is what we're experiencing right now. Your beauty is shining through because of the darkness trying to obfuscate it. I see you, I love you, and I got you, okay? I promise you that. And I'm not getting emotional, you are. So let these blowhards in Washington huff and puff. Let them blow down the houses of hay and sticks. Because the house we're gonna build is made of bricks. I love you guys. Thank you.
What do you call it when you like?
DJ spins.
He's gonna spin some. And we have another hour or so. So what we're gonna do is, please, we're gonna sell tickets, 50-50 tickets. And also in about a half hour, maybe we'll just start calling the tricky tray items. So enjoy yourself, dance, sing, do whatever you want to do. And thank you so, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here and for your support. Meet people, be a community. This is family, and we'll do more of this, I promise.